Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to Slaytech. Today I'll be going over how to strip a GoPro 9, 10, and 11. The only difference between them that you'll notice is the battery connector. I will be taking apart this GoPro using a Dremel, some side cutters, some drivers including a T4 Torx, a 1.3 hex, a small Phillips, and you can either use a small flathead or you can use an X-Acto knife. I'll be using the NamelessRC BEC and case. Right here I have the 422C from MG Chemicals, which is silicone modified conformal coating. It's used for splash proofing any kind of electrical boards. To spread that I use a toothpick and the brush included here. And then to take off the screen on the front, you're going to want to have a little isopropyl alcohol and you're going to want a Q-tip. And of course, safety glasses when you're using the Dremel. So now that you know what you need, let's get started. Alright, I got a client's GoPro 11 here that he wanted to strip down. Just so you know, you must bind to your phone first. Always bind to your phone or the device first, and then always update this with the GoPro Labs firmware. Otherwise, it won't recognize the drone as a battery source with this BEC, and you'll run into errors and it won't boot up right. And yeah, so upload the GoPro Labs firmware first, bind to your phone first. Alright, so first we can remove the lens. Remove the battery door. Can remove the battery, SD card. Next we'll be taking the Dremel and we'll be cutting all the way down this line right here, just until you start tapping the metal. Another way to do this is if you put it on like a 3D printer bed and heat it up, and sometimes the adhesive will come loose. You can kind of pry it off, but I have seen these screens get very damaged from that kind of heat, so it's at your own risk. But I much prefer the Dremel method. I've never broken anything with the Dremel, so yeah, I would definitely recommend the Dremel. Alright, let's get started. Clean workplace is key. Now that we see metal all the way around, should be able to just crack this right. Alright, just be careful about these two ribbon cables right here. To remove those, I would put pressure on this ribbon cable, get underneath it, and just pop it off. And again, we're just saving the screen just in case you want to sell the GoPro. It needs to bind to their device, their cell phone, their iPad, whatever. It's just good to keep. We'll also be keeping the USB port later on. We'll also be keeping the mic, and the rest pretty much gonna go. First, we're gonna start off with this ribbon cable right here. We're gonna get under it, and then we're gonna try to pry it off very slowly. You can use an X-Acto knife, or you can use a really fine flathead. And you do not want to bend these plastic connectors. Otherwise it won't seed correctly. There we go. Then we're going to take our Phillips and remove these three. And we will be saving 0 of these screws. So feel free to just toss them as you take them off, unless you like saving tiny screws. You're going to put your finger in there and just kind of push out. The battery connector for the 11s tends to just pop off pretty easily. For the 9 and 10, it's 3 wires to a different type of connector. I mean, if you just grab all 3 wires at once and kind of yank on it, you can pull it, but definitely want to keep this for later, just in case you have to do an update. It's going to want this battery. You can see the ribbon cable right there. And all these black ribbons right here, this is all just heat transfer ribbons. It's all just transferring heat from this core right here. You can pull this ribbon. This is for the screen. So what I like to do is I will attach these and just stow it away for later. Next, we'll be removing these Phillips. There is 1, 2, 3, 4. And there's another hidden one. Alright. There's another heat transfer ribbon right here we can just cut. And be careful because there is a ribbon underneath. Do not cut that ribbon cable. Just a black one. And then this guy should pop out. Alright. We can remove this ribbon cable right here. This is for the USB port. Once again, taking my fine flathead. Just gonna pop this up. Just watch for capacitors. You do not want to knock those off. They're super hard to put on. For this piece, getting the USB port out, I like to take cutters and go all the way to the bottom corner. And I'll cut, bend this up out of the way. And then I will grab this little edge sticking out and just bend it. You're not trying to save the case. And then the USB port will just kind of pop out. Super easy. Alright, and then if we pop this ribbon top right here, you'll see another bolt right there, also Phillips. Alright, and then there's another ribbon cable right here we can remove. And then gonna lift up on the bottom. And there's a little black bar right here that's compressed. You just have to lift it up. And you can get it under here and just pull it out. Alright. We can remove this speaker wire. That one you can just kind of force off, but don't try to like rip it sideways. That's the beep 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 beep, just like that. All right, we can start removing these other ribbon cables. This is for the lens camera sensor. This is for the microphone, which we will still be saving. And the next one's just for the on and off switch. We can get that one later. For now, we're going to remove some Torx. So go ahead and grab that T4. And on the outside here, there's 4. And then there is another 4 on the bottom. Alright. Now we gotta remove 3 screws, which are hex, right there, and 1 underneath this ribbon cable. The very corner. Alright, and then the last one is underneath. So what I like to do is get underneath the cable and just lift it up. Just be careful not to damage that connector. Just take your time. Alright, bend it up a little bit just to expose this little screw right there. And then the lens should pop right off. Alright, and then that comes off, and then this board should come right out as well. Let's just lift up this heat ribbon real quick. There we go. And this is just some thermal paste. You can remove that. Again, I prefer an X-Acto knife sometimes. Sometimes it just falls right off. Taking a little isopropyl alcohol and a swab. Just gonna clean this off. This comes right off. Alright, I'm gonna let this dry. And the isopropyl alcohol obviously dries super fast. Hope you guys enjoyed your break. And as I said, this is more like splash proofing.
I think the GoPro is good, dude, because look, it was recording underwater for shit, who knows how long. Yeah, this is like over a minute of it underwater, and then eventually it stopped.
let that dry. In the meantime, we're going to finish taking apart this. So we want the microphone and the screen. To do that, we have to remove this piece, and then we have to remove this whole heatsink piece. So you're going to take your Phillips, and this should come right off. Next, we'll be removing this heatsink, and we'll be saving the screen, and we'll be saving this microphone. First, we got to remove this Torx head right here. Alright. And there's these little plastic like mushroom tops. You have to get underneath them and scrape them off. Basically, they just took a little plastic piece sticking up and melted it down. That's okay. You can take the on and off switch off. Alright, now we can just slide this right out. There we go. What I like to do is I'll take isopropyl alcohol and I'll just kind of wiggle it on the back end of this to let it seep in and loosen up the adhesive. You're going to take a flathead or an X-Acto and just kind of get in the corner and slowly pry it up. Just make sure you don't break that screen. This one came off quite easily. Just take your time, be patient. Now we're going to take off the microphone. Again, slowly just pry it from the side. Alright, now that that's done, this stuff is just trash. Just kind of get out of the way. Let's apply a second layer of conformal coating. And I like to apply it to the screen as well. Again, be patient, don't hit the connectors. Then also the camera lens. Just try to get into those cracks along the edges because they do let water in. I would also do 2 coats on the lens. Here's the 2 to 6S BEC, or voltage regulator. We will also be coating this with the silicone modified conformal coating. And don't get it on the switches, the buttons, otherwise you won't be able to press them down. Alright, now that we've let this dry, we're going to start putting this in the case. And again, you can purchase this case and the BEC both at pyrodrone.com. So what I like to do is I'll take everything out of the case, and then I will just empty this bag, and they usually give you an extra screw in both sizes. First, you're going to want to attach the screen. Slide that into there. Just be careful of that ribbon cable. There it goes. Alright. Take the faceplate. Alright, next we're going to take the lens and it's going to go line up with these 3 holes, just apply some pressure. Should click. And we're going to use 3 of these tiny screws. And I don't tighten them all the way until all 3 are in. I need to remagnetize my tools. Alright, now I can make it nice and snug now that all 3 are in. Alright, next we'll be adding the main board, and when you're attaching these connectors, make sure you push them in all the way, and don't push them in until you know it's actually in that little rectangle. And you can tell if they're in because it'll be completely flush. See, like, I'm not applying too much pressure, I'm just kind of waiting for it to click in. Oh, I'm pushed it a little to the side. There you go, that took forever. But yeah, just be patient with them. Anyway, so once you connect these, we're going to start to put this board into place. the option you can do is add the microphone back. Again, just be patient. You don't want to mess up these connectors. Alright, and that's just going to go in the front. I usually just sandwich it against there. Alright, and then we're going to attach this camera connector in a second. Alright, we're going to take one of these small screws again. And we're going to do this bottom corner. Give this little ribbon a little tug, because sometimes it gets scrunched up and you need as much as you can get in order to reach the connector. Oh, I missed it. Again, just be patient. Not everything is going to be smooth. Again, just have to wait till it's snug. And then we can apply this ribbon. Okay. Then we can apply this camera. Alright. I'm going to take another small screw. Okay. Alright, now we can give this guy a little test. I like to test him before I close everything up. So you take this little sticky, apply it, and you apply this all the way to the corner. I usually get rid of this piece of foam. And just match all the way to the corner. And then press down. Then take this ribbon cable. You have to push this little black piece out. And just slightly bend it. Don't actually fold it to a pinch. Oh, it was in there. Alright, let's give it a little test. This is a 6S 6000 mod. It should be just enough to power this little GoPro. Light's good. Ta-da! Let's power this off. And remove this plug. Alright, so now we can start closing this up, that we know everything works. An extra thing you could do is you can use conformal coating on the connectors themselves to make it fully waterproof. It's kind of a hit or miss, depends what your goal is. You kind of want the ability to take these connectors off to hook up previous components that you saved, like the USB, or hooking up the battery or that kind of thing. So I have seen this work underwater for a little bit. So now we're going to take these longer screws. And there you have it. You can use the stock mount, or you can print your own. There's plenty of on Thingiverse, I believe. I mean, I have some. I use the iFlight kind of mount from the GoPro 8 days. Alright, and then we'll take this, slide it on through here. Just kind of feed it through. And there you have it, a naked GoPro 11. Same process goes for the 9 and 10. Just want to thank you guys for tuning in. If you like what you saw, please subscribe and like. Thank you.